see it as a deflection, Stevie, him saying we're the worst right now, and Ruben Amorim telling it like it is in the press conference? Do you see that?
Yeah, 100% agree with Jules. 100%. He's trying to get in before they get it out, which is what he's doing. No question. I'm 100% with Jules. He is trying to take the sting out of the situation of how bad they are by saying they're really bad. It's almost like he's looking for a bit of sympathy. It's almost like he's looking for a get out that it's not his problem. That's what it feels like.
It's trying to control the narrative and the rhetoric. And let me be the one that drives the narrative. Let me be the one that provides you material. And here's the thing. You could be providing material if your team were playing well. Hey, that's the best way to control every narrative, and that's just not happening. I think what concerns me about Ruben Amorim and Manchester United is the fact that it's been a consistent struggle. We know that full well. Jules just mentioned some of the results there and the run of bad results that they have had. And then a manager comes into a press conference and says, well, I'm not going to change anything. I am who I am. I'm going to do things my way. And that, see, I have a problem conceptually with that, fundamentally with that. If things are not working, it is your job to find a solution. And if that means changing things around, that is part of the description of your job. Now, if I was critical about Pep Guardiola and the struggles of Manchester City because he refused to change the way they're going to play, let me just tell you something, just in case anybody needed some clarification. Pep Guardiola has a lot more equity and a whole lot more money in the bank when it comes to success at the club level than Ruben Amorim does. And so, if we were criticizing Pep Guardiola for not being adaptable enough, it's only fair to say, Ruben, maybe, just maybe, things are not working. Perhaps the plan that you want to put in place eventually will work. But until you get to that point, hey, there's nothing wrong with winning some games, even if it means playing ugly. Build confidence, build momentum, build credibility, and then you can start establishing what is it that you want to do when you have the pieces that you think you're capable of having at some point. But I don't know that you can just sit there and accept that, you know what, this is just the way it's going to be. If you're a fan of Manchester United, do you sit back and say, yeah, Ruben, I like this. I enjoy watching this. I like the fact that we've accepted that we're terrible and we're going to continue to be terrible. Come on now. It's not a manager's position to just accept failure and say that that's okay.
I don't know whether Amorim was a player or not. But as a player, when you're getting the results and the performances that Manchester United are and have been since he got there, as a player, there comes a cut-off point where you don't believe in what you're doing because you're so bad. There comes a point where, as a player, you go, why are we continuing to play this way? Because we're not playing well, and any results we have had, we've just been downright lucky. So eventually, the players think that way. So if he carries on playing this same system, and pretty much with the same players, I mean, my goodness, he plays Moreno and Ugarte every game and then takes them off pretty much after an hour, every single time. So he has to change, because he has to. There is no way.
By the way, Stevie. He was a midfielder.
Well, he should know then. He should know that when you're asked to do the same thing over and over and it's not working, eventually you give up the ghost. Eventually your heart's not in it. And when your heart's not in it, you ain't going to win anything or get anywhere. So I don't think he has a choice. And if he doesn't change it, then guess what? Between now and the end of the season, we're going to see the same thing.
Jules, final say goes to you. Do you think he will change it?
I think he's very dogmatic. We knew that when he arrived. He clearly has his own style and philosophy and this system that we've seen since day one, when we all wondered before he arrived, will he keep the 3-4-2-1 formation with the inside 10s, which is not an easy system to... Well, it's not that it's not an easy system to play in. It's just you need to find the right players, obviously. Not everybody can play as an inside 10, for example. Not everybody can play as a wing-back in this kind of system and the way he wants them to play. So we knew that. And we did wonder a lot on the show, okay, who can fit in the system? Because we knew it was very likely he would keep the same system. So we said, okay, where would Rashford fit, well, nowhere. Garnacho, well, it might be tricky, and etc., etc. So we went through the whole squad. I remember on the show, by saying, okay, who could fit in, who could not fit in. So we knew there was that system, and there was it. But I agree with the boys. I thought by now, Nathan always says something. He says there's style and substance for every football team in the whole world, whatever the level. So there's the style you want to play, okay, and then there's the result that you get or not get. And I think right now, for Ruben Amorim, as much as he probably wants his team to play the style of football he wants in this system, like he used to do at Sporting, right now he should care about the substance more than anything else and getting those points. Because remember after the Boxing Day, he said, oh, we're in a relegation fight, which again was a bit like today, we are the worst team in Manchester United history. Again, that was the big headline he wanted. That was not true. They're not going to go down. But he was deflecting it that way. And tonight he's doing the same. But just do the basics. Try teaching them the basics so at least they can start playing a little bit better, with more cohesion, more as a team than what we're seeing now. The third goal, we can blame Onana, of course we can. But before that, Brighton built from the back like they were playing against cones. Literally, the United players were cones on that pitch. And for Brighton, it was so easy to pass the ball and then the cross, and the mistake by Onana. Okay. So I'm not sure why he's teaching them, but certainly it's not working. And that's where I agree with the boys. He has to change some things.
And he's not been smart either, because he's backed himself into a corner. He's sitting saying, I'm not changing. This is how we do it. Sit a little bit like Postecoglou. He's like, we're not changing. This is how we play. And so he's backed himself into a corner by saying the same thing. We're not going to change.